In today's video, we're going to share with you the top 3 ways that you can source profitable products, including books, to sell on Amazon without leaving home. Today, we're joined by my good friend, Victor Galejos, who has sold over $500,000 worth of products in the last year. He's made over $150,000 profit. His average selling price for a book is $53. He sold over 9,600 books he sold in the last year for an average profit of $16 per book. So if there's anybody we can talk to in the book selling community about sourcing books, especially from home, Victor is the guy. So let's get into it, Victor. How we doing, man?
Steve, doing great. Thank you for having me on. Love being on and providing a ton of value here. So let's get it going.
Perfect. All right. So we're going to share the top 3 ways to source profitable books to sell on Amazon from home. What do we have for number 1?
Tip number 1 actually would be the Keep a Deals page. Actually, it's like a hidden gem, right? Basically, you can find a ton of great deals on Keep a Deals. It updates all the time. And basically, if you wanted to, you could just stay on Keep a Deals all day long and probably find 50 to 100 books every day. And so, yeah, let's go ahead and dig a little bit deeper into that. And I'm going to share my screen.
Sweet. Let's jump into it.
All right. So we're on Keepa, the homepage of Keepa. And basically, all we have to do is click on Keep a Deals. Here, you can find a ton of different items, including books. And so since I mostly or only do books, we want to click on books here on the top. Here, click on books and then click on used. Click on, for me, the last 3 months, right? So what we're wanting to do are finding books that have dropped in value within the last 3 months. And then look at these like parameters, right? So books that have dropped within the last 3 months, at least 40%. And that 40% needs to be at least $17. Basically, just copy this, right? So books between $3 and $69, I just happen to put that in there. You can kind of mess with these filters. It doesn't necessarily have to be specifically these amounts. You can kind of play around with this a little bit. And then your min and max sales rank, basically you can put from 0 to maybe 500,000, right? That just gives you a ton of books and kind of helps you start sourcing some really profitable books. And so once you do that, you're going to quickly get into how many books Keepa just found you. And for this particular example, Keepa found 6,135 books. And so mostly these books actually just dropped in price. And then I kind of arranged it in a kind of I think a perfect way. So if you were able to pause the video right now and kind of arrange your screen or your Keepa this way, it also will really help you out. So the first up is the used price. So what's the current price right now? And within the last 30 days, how much is that price dropped, right? So if it's $24 now, it's dropped 16% in the last 30 days. And 30 days ago, it was $28.59. So you can see it has dropped a little bit. The 90-day average is here at $40. So these are all like good indicators to check on. Here's the title of the book and the image, and then some other good indicators to kind of check on before you go even further. So this kind of arranges everything into data points, right? So you can see everything in numbers instead of having to focus on the graph just yet. So what we're wanting to focus on are books that have dropped at least like say 40 to 50% in the last 30 days, because if not, they're not really valuable books for us. We're not going to be able to buy them, shipping them into Amazon and sell them for a profit unless they're at least 40% have dropped in the last 30 days. So although we put 40% here, that is 40% within the last 90 days. We want something that's dropped within the last 30 days that is 40% or more. So, okay, so the first book, no, right? We can just quickly see 16% drop, that's cool, but not low enough. 37% not low enough. 64%, okay, that's low enough, right? We've now found a book that has dropped enough for us to go and check that out, at least initially. So we're now looking at this used price being $30. The drop has been 64%. And the only negative here is that we can see the sales rank at 2 million, which means that this book doesn't sell it often. But let's go ahead and like click on it. It's a live example here. So let's check this book out. Yeah, you can kind of see it's pretty decent. I mean, there's some sales in the 80s. There's a sale in the 80s, sale in the 80. There's a few sales, 30 at 30, and a sell at 90. All right. So, and then just dropped. Do you see that's what Keepa just found us, is like they let us know, hey, this book just dropped substantially from where it just was. And that's true. I don't know if it's good enough because there are some sales at the lower price point too. And so probably I would pass on that book, but that is our first example. Let's click on a few others. So we're at 7%. No, do you see this 51%? 51, decent. Let's go ahead and check out the 51% drop. And yeah, so it's been basically been at $45 the entire time, and then just dropped to 24. It's okay. The money that we would need to make back on this book, we have to sell. So if the book is $24, we need to sell this book basically at like $50 or more. And since Amazon's on this listing at 40, we wouldn't be able to sell it. We wouldn't be able to make a profit off of it. So let's just keep going. Let's try to find something, that we can actually, so it's 67%. The sales rank here happens to just be too high on these books that are at the 50. Okay, so this book is 55% at 600,000 rank. This is looking pretty good. All right. Do you see? So it's $11. It dropped 55%. The average is $25 at the used price. And basically all we do is we're going to click on it and let's check it out. And the reason why I got kind of excited is because the sales rank is lower than these other books, right? So the 3 million, 5 million, this was 672,000. Great, actually a great sales rank for the last 30 days. So let's look at it. Let's look at what this book is, and it's looking actually pretty good. So at $11, which probably would be $4 shipping, so it'd be about $15. You can check out this book. The used buy box is right around $48, and it does get that high at the used price just in general in January, February, March. This is actually looking pretty positive. So if I was sourcing, I would then click on Amazon and go and check on this book. Like I think we actually found a actual live example. Yeah, that you can buy for 15, probably sell it for like $48. So yeah, these type of listings, these type of books just show up all day long, right? On Keepa. The challenge here is that you have to have a lot of duds, right? We kind of went through 10 books before we found one, but we still found one. There's one really good example here, and you just got to keep doing this, right? You look at this price, 30%, that's too low, 30, 68. Okay, so we're at 68, but the sales rank is at 8.6 million, so way too high. And I think most people understand what that means. Sales rank at 8 million basically means this book rarely ever sells, right? Once a year maybe. And just kind of hovering over the chart, you can kind of see this book sells once? Yeah, maybe once a year. So that's not a book we're really interested in purchasing. We want books that actually are selling. So you want a sales rank that's actually pretty good over here on the far right. Say a book that's maybe under $1 million is ideal. And so, yeah, that's how I range Keepa deals. And, for somebody who's just starting out, Keepa's $20 a month. You can easily come in here and arrange these columns and just start sourcing, right? Say you don't have time, you have a full-time job, and by the time you get off work, all the thrift stores are closed. Well, Keepa's not closed. Amazon's not closed, right? You can come in here and source a ton of books at midnight. And kind of arranging it just like I showed you here really will help you out. And basically all you got to do is find these books, purchase them, and then ship them back into Amazon. And basically we're finding undervalued books and selling them for their current value. So that's tip number 1.
Awesome, Victor. Already dropping the fire for tip number 1. And we have 2 more tips. And I'll tell you guys right now, the last one can make you the most money. So make sure to hang around, smash that like button, and let's get into tip number 2. All right, before we get into tip number 2, I wanted to let everybody know that Victor and I, plus Joji Davenport and Avery Martin, we're putting together a book selling Amazon conference, okay? So it's going to be going down in September, and we're going to have probably 100 to 200 people there from all walks of life, people just getting started with Amazon, people looking to grow, folks who are trying to go from 10 to 20 to 50K per month. If you want to learn about how to sell books, eBay to Amazon, Amazon to Amazon, if you're looking to get around a group of like-minded people, come hang out with us at the Books and Beyond conference. I'm sure we're showing a bunch of stuff on the screen right now, so you can check it out. We'll put links down below to grab tickets. And with that being said, let's get into tip number 2.
All right. So tip number 2. Basically, it's very similar to what we just were. You can see we're kind of on the same screen here. But now let's just say we were looking at some books and a book just dropped. We clicked on it, but somebody just bought it, right? We were like, oh, let's just go back to this example here. We were really excited about this book at $15. We clicked on it, but somebody just bought it. And it kind of really frustrates us. It's fine. We're going to move on to the next book. But we kind of used a lot of our time looking at this book, evaluating it, realizing it actually does drop in price and it does go back up and down in price. So what we can do is track this book. And so that is tip number 2. Every book that you run into, make sure you add it to your tracking list, right? Because as a seasoned seller, that's what you really actually like lean on. A list of books that you are tracking, and it's soon enough, most of your books will be through the books that you've tracked, right? So those books will start dropping in value, and you'll be able to purchase those when they drop in value, instead of having to always go through Keep a Deals and kind of build your list. So use Keep a Deals to build your list, and then use Keep a Tracking to really hone into that list, right? To really get the books that you're really interested in and purchase and source through those. So what we do is, once we find this book, and let's just say this book actually just spiked back up because the one copy that was there at $11.51 sold, and we missed out on that deal. But all we have to do is basically come in here, click on Track Product, which is over here on the Keep a chart, and then we want to put the used price probably right around what it was $11.20, right? So let's just put $11. So basically, what we're doing here is telling Keepa, hey, next time this book gets to $11 or less, email me. Just right away, email me. I'll be ready. I want to be the first person to know about this book when it drops to $11 because I want to purchase it next, right? Because it has a history of going to $11 because it just did. And so anytime it does that again, I want to be next up. I want to purchase this book for $11. So I click on $11 in the used section over here, and then I just track it for 10 years because I know I'm going to stay being a bookseller for quite a long time. I mean, Steve, me and you talked about this. I'm already sold for 7 years, and I can't believe that. But yeah, why not? Let's do another 10. So
love it.
Click start tracking, and yeah, that's basically how you track books. And I think it's a really wise decision that you do that, because you're not losing time when you're doing that, right? You're becoming a better bookseller each time you track your books that you would like to purchase again.
Now, is there a limit on the amount of books that a user can track? And does this come with just like the $20 a month Keepa plan, or does this cost extra to do this?
Yeah, good question. Actually, there is a limit of 5,000 books. And I remember when I first started, I thought 5,000. Oh my gosh, you'll never get to 5,000. That's crazy. There, you can track 5,000 books. And then, 3 months down the road, I ended up tracking way more than that. Like, I hit that limit and was trying to figure out ways to go around the 5,000 limit. So yeah, there's a limit of 5,000 per Keepa account. So it's $20 a month. And so you can either track it into Keepa or into your own spreadsheet. So what I ended up doing was started tracking them in my own spreadsheet, because I way past the 5,000 tracked books. But since most of the people listening here are probably just starting booksellers, yeah, it's going to take you a while to get to 5,000. So just track the books on Keepa tracking, and then once you get over 5,000, then put them into a spreadsheet.
Cool. Well, thank you so much, Victor. Tip number 2, that was even better than tip number 1.
Yeah,
so,
right.
All right, cool. So let's get into the last tip. And I'll tell you guys right now, like I said, this is the best one. I've used this. A bunch of people who follow me and, folks in my inner circle are using this last tip to make a lot of money. So Victor, what do we have on the screen, and how can people make money selling books on Amazon with what you're going to share?
All right. So the fastest and easiest way to source books on Amazon is through Bookmine. It's a software me and Joji created, and Steve is part of. It just really cuts out all of the challenges that Keep a Deals has and Keep Alerts has. Basically, all those things that we had to look at to decide, okay, is this used price under the 30-day average, and is it dropped 50%, and what's the sales rank? It cuts off all of that, right? It just brings you the actual books that are actually valuable that you can purchase today and flip. So instead of one of every 10 that you can actually source, we're talking about one of every 2 or 3, right? Or maybe every other book that we're going to look at here that you can click on here and purchase, because we've done so many algorithms behind the scenes to be able to get these books. Basically, it has to pass so many checks to make it on this list. We kind of massage about 400,000 books, and we bring it down to about 3,000 books, and we update that every hour. And so we cut off a ton of the wasted time that you would be taking on Keepa, and just providing these books just directly to you. So instead of having to click on this book, no, click on this book, no. All that's done. All you have to do basically here is just verify. All right, so here's our first example. We're literally the first book up here, and you can see that this book just got updated. So the used price is at $50. All right, most of the year, and then in January also at $50, and currently the book shipped is at $15.86. I mean, this is a no-brainer, right? 50, 50. Now it's $15.86. So we did it, right? You just show up, come on, click on Keepa, and go purchase this book, right? It's why wouldn't it repeat again, right? It's at $50. It was at $50 again over here in January. The season hasn't started yet, so it's kind of lower where it is than it's about to be here in another like few weeks from now. So I mean, take advantage of that. Go and buy this book and sell it, right? So that's just book number one. Book number two, let's literally go to the next book up, right? I'm not stuffing Bookmine to get you the best deals right now to show that it's even better than what it is. This is literally book number two. All right, so this book is selling at like $40. It sells over here at like $45, and it's currently $19, right? So again, very similar thing. It's buy it for $19, sell it for $45, and this again is $19 shipped, right? It's not $19 plus $4 shipping. And other great things about it is, when you start getting into sourcing, you realize one of the most profitable ways to source are seasonal items. Like I imagine for you, Steve, Christmas time is a really great time, right? Because like toys really pop off, or CDs and other items that you're purchasing for Christmas time have that seasonal spike to them, correct?
Of course, yeah. All day long.
Yeah, so we have seasonal things also with books, right? One of them being we have high school books, we also have Christmas books. And so what's something that Keepa doesn't do, but Bookmine will do, is actually divide these books into seasons, right? So we actually have some winter books on Bookmine right now. We have some high school books on Bookmine, which why is that important? Well, because you can actually go in and hone into one of these particular types of books if you're interested in those, right? Because typically those actually have a higher ROI than just general books, and because these type of books actually almost are guaranteed they like go from a really low point to a really high point every year. And you can't say guaranteed, but basically it's a book that has historically went from, say $10 to $50, $10 to $50 every year. And when you're wanting to guarantee basically, or very close to guarantee these type of books, to sell, you want to also source, these types of books. So like all the books that I just clicked on right now are all high school books. And what I mean by high school books are that these books actually spike from like say $10 to $15 to like $50. So let's just go really quickly here on this example. This biology book is a high school book. It says here high school. The current price is $17.99, and you can see that this price does get up into the 50s in September. And there's just tons and tons of these examples. So there's a book here that there's another high school book that goes into the 40s. It's currently $23. This book actually is a really great book. I don't know if you'll, by the time we show you this book, it'll be time, the people have already purchased it.
I'm going to source it now.
Yeah, right. Look, do you see this, Steve? This book is constantly $200, right? $200. You see $200 in the entire year, and now it's $72. So all you got to do is click on this book, buy like 5 copies. Buy 5 copies of this book, pay for a Bookmine and a night out. That's how amazing this is. Like literally $200, and it's currently $72. So there's no hiding here. These books are just that great, and you can see that sourcing with Bookmine is much quicker than what it would be on Keepa alone. And me and Joji made the software and partnered with you to kind of push this out there to let people know that, like, hey, yes, it's a good way to start. It's a great way to start with Keepa. But if you really care about time and want to source, and try to scale this business, Bookmine is really it.
Yeah, I always tell people, when you're brand new, start thrifting, right?
Mm-hmm.
Thrifting is very profitable, but it's super competitive. And if you're looking for freedom and to scale your time, you're not going to have that. But you want to start from the ground floor, learn the process. And then I would say, start playing around with Keepa deals, because it's only $20 a month, and get your feet wet. But then what you're going to run into is the problem of time and having to filter through a million different listings. And then you're missing out on all the really good deals, because you have people using Bookmine that are getting right to the bread and butter within seconds, But start with thrifting, start using Keepa. And then when you start making some money and making some deals, invest in Bookmine. Bookmine is, man, the people who are using it right now are absolutely crushing it and loving it. And yeah, I couldn't recommend it enough. It's definitely a great software. So we'll put some information down below. I'll link up Keepa down below. If you guys aren't using Keepa, you should definitely be using it. I'll put a link down below to I think, what are you giving me? A 10-day free trial for everybody, Victor, I think?
Yeah, 10-day free trial and a $15 discount on Bookmine. Just because I really enjoy what your audience, and really enjoy working with you.
Hey, well, thank you so much. So I'll put all the resources down below. If you guys have any questions or you want to connect with Victor, Victor does have a free Facebook group as well. If you want to share that with everyone, if they want to reach out, ask a question, connect with you.
Yeah, so it's just go to Facebook and type in Amazon seasonal book arbitrage, right? Because that's what we mostly do is seasonal book arbitrage. So yeah, that's the Facebook group. We have about 2,400 people in there, and that's a totally free group, right? Go in there. I share a ton of tips. Matter of fact, today I shared a tip. And what I mean by a tip, I actually share a lead, a book you could purchase and sell, in a few weeks. So I do that almost every day. So yeah, go check out that Facebook group. Build your inventory, build your capital, and then start scaling. So yep.
Cool, man. Well, thanks, Victor. I'll link his Facebook group down below. I'm not going to lie, I have made quite a bit of money buying some of the leads that you share in that free Facebook group. So nobody should join it. There's no money to be made in there.
No.
All right, guys, we'll see you in the next video. Thank you so much. Smash that like button if you love selling books on Amazon, or if you want more content like this. And can't say thanks enough, Victor. Appreciate everybody, and we'll see you in the next one. Much love.